Hello, my name is Anna and I'm a full-time potter, and today I'm really excited to make something that I've never made before, and that is berry bowls, which are basically kind of like a little colander shape made out of ceramic with a bunch of holes, and you can put your fresh berries in them to kind of display them and let them drain. I've seen a lot of other potters do this in the past, including my studio mate, and she made the most beautiful, adorable little berry bowls. So this design is going to be a little bit inspired by her, and I will link her Instagram in the description. Anyways, I've always thought they were so cute, but I've never made them myself because all of my pottery has a design element, whether it's painted or sculpted. Basically, I never make a piece of pottery and just glaze it without some sort of design element. So that's really kept me away from berry bowls because they're kind of mostly holes, so there's not really room for a painted something or a sculpture something. But I had the idea to make the handles on either side banana slugs. So that's what I'm gonna do today. Today I'm gonna throw them, and then hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to trim them and sculpt on them. And this is perfect because I'm in a little bit of a time crunch for some stuff that I made last week. I have a wholesale order that I really need to deliver, but we don't have enough work to fill the kiln. And I think these will take up a significant amount of room in the kiln and we'll be able to fire this week. So let's get started. I started out just measuring one ball of clay because I wanted to throw one bowl and gauge how much clay I should use before I wedged up an entire bag. I decided to go with 2¼ pounds, and for reference I usually throw my mugs at 1¼ pound. I was aiming for a wide, classic bowl shape with rounded walls, a shape completely inspired by Aria's berry bowls. I also wanted to have enough clay to leave at the bottom to trim a solid foot, and this amount of clay felt really perfect, so after I threw this first bowl, I wedged up 9 more balls of clay. I decided to make 10 and I threw all the bowls. It's honestly so nice to throw bowls because I always throw mug or mug-shaped things. I'm very rarely making like a wide shape like that, so it's just really refreshing. But I'll probably cover the rims with some plastic really lightly because it's going to be sunny tomorrow, so when I come in, I'll let them sit in the sun for a second until they're ready to trim. The next day when I uncovered the bowls, they were still super wet, so I took them outside to dry in the sun. When I sun-dry pieces, I rotate them every few minutes to make sure that they dry evenly, and this also helps with warping. I flip them over as soon as I can without warping the rims because I want the bottoms to dry evenly, and they're quite a bit thicker. Here is the super satisfying bit. After I flip the bowls, I scrape each bat and save the clay for recycling. I never use water to clean my bats, as getting them super wet will make them warp faster over time, so this is all the cleanup they'll need. When the bowls are dry enough, I trim a pronounced foot into each one. I use a steady hand to feel for the side that is out of balance, stop the wheel, and adjust the pot just a smidge, and then repeat this process until I get it right. I have watched the videos of Florian Gatsby doing the tap centering method, and I simply cannot figure it out. That man is magic. So now it's time for the super special sculptural flair, which is banana slug handles. I'm doing my regular slug shape just a little bit longer and then altering them into an arch form to work as a mini handle. At this point, I felt a little nervous that the design element on these pieces wouldn't be big enough and bold enough since it felt really small on the bowls. But I'm trying to remind myself that not every piece has to be a major maximalist situation, and there are definitely folks in my audience who enjoy a simpler design. Also following in Aria's footsteps, I used a drill to cut the holes rather than a hole puncher. This was so much faster and probably a little bit cleaner too. I did it when the pieces were on the harder side of leather hard and a full day after I'd done the slug handle attachments. Okay, I just drilled this first one and I think it went really well. I want to figure out the spacing a little bit more, and I want there to be more holes on the bottom. It feels just a smidge wet to be doing this, but I really need to load these into the kiln in 48 hours, so I need to drill the holes today so I can start properly drying them. So I'm going to do something really controversial because I've already added attachment to these, but I'm going to flip them over and put them in the sun. And hopefully nothing cracks off. Okay, the berry bowls came out like this. Here they are. One cracked, but that's okay. I'm still gonna glaze it and then maybe I'll keep it for myself. They look really good. And I'm gonna paint the slugs yellow, and some of them I'm just gonna clear glaze them, so this part will stay brown and the slugs will be yellow. And some of them I'm going to wax the slugs and then glaze them in a color. I think I'm gonna do some of them blue and some of them purple. I'm a little bit worried about glazing in the crevices right here. I think it's gonna be kind of hard to just get the wax on the slugs and not on the bowl part, because I don't want the bowl part to stay raw. But I'm gonna try my best and just be really careful. If you've watched any of my other videos, you're probably familiar with my slug glazing process. Each slug gets a few coats of yellow underglaze before I go in with some orange underglaze. I try to use the orange to emphasize the textures and for it to kind of live in the creases where I would imagine the shadows would be if a banana slug was voluptuous and cartoonish like how I sculpt them. Then, like all of my sculptural additions, I add a thin layer of clear glaze and a layer of wax. And I was right, it was really difficult to get into the creases and not get the wax on the body of the bowl. Dipping these bowls in glaze involved a lot of aggressive blowing to keep the glaze from hardening in all the little holes. I was definitely winded after this process, and then it occurred to me that I could have just let the glaze settle in the holes and then poked it out with a needle tool, but this was the path I chose, and that's okay. Maybe next time I'll do it differently. After I wiped the excess glaze off of the slugs, I loaded them all into the kiln, which will take about 9 hours to fire and a full day to cool. It's been 2 days and the berry bowls are done and they're in this kiln. I'm so excited to unload them. I couldn't fit all of them in, but I fit a few of each color in, so I'll be able to see how they're all gonna look. They're right here on top. They're so perfect. Here is the one that I just left raw. I really like how the glaze looks on just the clay body, but I forgot to paint the orange dots on one side. So this side has orange dots and shading, and this side has nothing. And it might not be that big of a deal, but it really bothers me, so I'll probably sell this one at a discount. And the purple. I like it, but I don't love it. I'm glad that I only glazed 3 in this color. Maybe it'll sell well, who knows? Sometimes people really love stuff that I don't like. But I'm feeling like the berries that you put in the bowl should be the more vibrant part, and I feel like the purple is really overpowering, and just imagining this bowl with strawberries in it just feels like too much. So that was the process for making the berry bowls, and now I'm recording this a few weeks after I pulled them from the kiln and I've had a chance to sell them at markets and online. In the video, I talked about how I didn't really like the purple glaze, but then once I had a chance to take them to markets, the purple sold so well and I got so many compliments on it. And then I did this Instagram poll, and it turns out that you guys liked the purple just as much as the blue, which was my favorite. And I think this is such an important lesson in pottery, because I see people all the time pull stuff out of the kiln and they're frustrated and upset and want to throw something away because it's not just how they wanted it, but other people will love it. When you're the artist who's making something, you might have a really, really specific vision for how you want something to turn out, and if it doesn't turn out that way, especially with something as fickle as glaze and pottery, you might have the instinct to throw it away or break it because it's not exactly what you wanted, but other people might and probably will love it. And that's something that I learned early on. I definitely used to throw stuff away, and now I hold on to things even if I don't like them, unless they're broken or something like that, because people like other stuff. Of course, it's different if it's something that you're just not proud of, and that makes sense. You wouldn't want to sell it, and that's fine. But you might as well give it a go because people might love it. In this situation, I was totally wrong. I thought the purple was the worst. I was like, I'm gonna put this on my table and see how people feel about it, but I think it sucks. And then people loved it. So what do I know? And I just think that this is a really funny and interesting situation, and I'm gonna make more purple berry bowls because you guys like them. And when everybody was so in love with them, I kind of got it, and I was like, okay, these are fun. I really hope you liked this process video. I had a lot of fun making something new that I'd never made before. If you did like it, my berry bowls are currently sold out, but there will be more on my site at some point. You can sign up for the newsletter. It's annacanart.com. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel to watch me make more stuff. And thanks so much for watching. Bye!